Alright folks, it's been a little while and that means today I've got 10 new Jurassic... You were meant to walk in... Why are you sitting down? You were meant to walk dramatically in front of the camera. We've got 10 brand new Jurassic World Evolution 2 mods to show off for you today. Evolution 3 is just a couple of months away, but what else are you going to do for the next 2 months if not play with some new dinosaurs and in particular aquatic species? You're going to hang out with friends, study, expand your horizons? No, that's scary. Let's look at some new dinosaurs, and this is a little preview of one we'll be seeing in a little bit. Hey buddy. Now, unfortunately, our first mod did crash the game instantly when I tried to release it from the hatchery. It does seem to be a me problem because nobody else seems to have reported the issue, but it means I can show you it in this little bit here. And now this is a new D-Rex mod from DRG Gaming and Viral Cyclops. So this is a new D-Rex cosmetic and it goes on the Iguanodon. So we've got the regular one, we've got our Jurassic World Dominion era, and then, boop, wait no. Boop, there we go. We have a teeny tiny D-Rex. So I'm going to pop a few of these out. We should have multiple skins. Yep, there we go. They look pretty sweet, the skins, I gotta say. Let's get, this one's probably getting a little bit closer to what it should be like. Now, this is obviously a really interesting choice. The purpose behind this, as far as I'm aware, it's on the Iguanodon rig for the sake of better animations when fighting, better animations when walking around. And this actually uses the official model from Jurassic World Alive. So, other than its teeny tiny baby size, it is basically as close to an official D-Rex as we're ever going to get in Jurassic World Evolution 2. And you can see it really does feel like it's ripped straight from the film. It even has the little details you'll see in the film model, like the iguana scoots down there at the cheek area, and that's on the Rex as well in Rebirth, so they added it to the D-Rex because, of course, as you can see, we've got this kind of Rex skull underneath all the blobs. Now, this has been added to the Iguanodon, as I say, for rigging and animation purposes, so it would seem a little silly to not give that a little bit of a test. Looks like it's going to happen. Carnotaurus with the first hit. This team. Yeah, I mean, you can just pretend this is kind of like the D-Rex. I mean, I kind of want to see the D-Rex get a hit in. It's kind of the whole point. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Maybe. You can just pretend this is a D-Rex in a earlier stage of its lifespan. I will say it does go onto the Iguanodon rig really nicely. It does make sense in that way, but we can't just like scale the rigs up magically. Unfortunately, I just want to see it do one attack. That's all I'm looking for. I've been here for about 20 minutes trying to get the Iguanodon Rex to attack just one time, just get one hit in. Bloody Nora. Anyways, that is the D-Rex cosmetic by DRG Gaming and Viral Cyclops. More useful for displays and stuff like that, and to see it wandering around, it's a little bit weird because it's herbivorous, of course, and it's on a weird rig, and it's got a weird size, but it's animated really well, and the model looks fantastic. Well, you got a little preview of them earlier on, but this is the Mecca Dinosaur cosmetic set by DRG Gaming and Viral Cyclops, and it adds 3 new Mecca dinosaurs to the game as cosmetics. They don't replace anything. These are from some unnamed mobile game, suspiciously unnamed mobile game. This, as you can see, is the Triceratops clad in tank-esque sort of armor there. We've got guns and symbols all over the side, a little danger warning there. Actually looks kind of, I don't know what you would possibly use this for other than making funny little battle videos, but it's pretty cool all the same. We've got more than just a trike though. Over here, as you can see, we have a Stegosaurus with these big sort of metal red plates around the back, like energy absorber sort of things going on. If any of you know what game this is from, by the way, definitely hit me up. I'd be really curious. But it's it works really well. It actually looks pretty fantastic for a mobile game. So there's some muscular fibers under there supporting the structures around. Of course, we've got that robotic head there with the sort of almost antenna there at the top. So there's your Stegosaurus, looking pretty slick. And then finally, I'm going to spawn this one in with you. It's on the Spinosaurus rig for some reason, but it's actually a Tyrannosaurus Rex, I believe. Now you'll notice a bit of a lag spike here. This was another one that I was struggling a little bit to release from the hatchery, but it does seem to work if we use Kai's wee toolbox to spawn it in, which quite frankly, all of you should be using if you are playing with mods. Let's pop that in there, and as you can see, we've got ourselves a gigantic metallic Rex as well, much more similar to the Stegosaurus in styling with the black and the red, the triple red eye there on the side, those big bulky legs. This is like a rebirth Rex, been mechanized. We've got this kind of armor, ammo, energy cell in there, and then a big old cannon around the back. Really weird stuff, don't know why it exists, but it's cool, and I think that's probably enough reason, quite frankly. Now, we've got a lot of new species and cosmetics and stuff to check out today, but we do have a couple of decorations as well. This is the first of the bunch. This is the tree mod by Robearth YouTube. Well, made by Viral Cyclops, but commissioned by Robearth YouTube. And what this does, unless I've misinterpreted the description, is basically plucks a huge number of trees and a few logs and stuff, 27 in total, from the forest brushes that already exist in the game, and it turns them into individual placeable decorations, giving you much more granular control and much more sort of creative options when you're exhibit building, and you can see them all here. So we've got a bunch of temperate ones here. This was a particularly sort of lax selection before, so the focus has been on temperate. We've now got these autumnal ones, beautiful, and of course because they're from the game itself, they're going to fit right in to all your builds. I've got to say, Frontier did a lovely job on these ones in particular. The colours are fantastic. So we've got a bunch of those. We've got some sort of more tropical looking ones and swampy looking ones over here on the right. We've got a bunch of logs. Being able to place like this very cool log is maybe the most exciting part of the mod, but we've got various different dead trees and such. And then we've got some spruces and stuff like that as well. But 27 new trees just goes right into your decoration tab. I'll show you that very quickly. If we hop down here to decos, go into the second tab here, as you can see, they've all got this little Jawitu symbol, so you know what they are. And you can place fallen trees in a weird demonic symbol to your heart's content. Oh! Alright, I finally get to release something from the hatchery. This very cool mod is the Rugged Allosaurus, made by Game Videos for Life, and it's another cosmetic this time. This time a cosmetic custom body variant with a bunch of skins for this new thickened Allosaurus, and it comes with skins from Battle of Big One. You know, I should be able to show you that actually right here if we go onto this bit here. So this is the 2019, this is your Fallen Kingdom version. Over here we've got FMM UV32, which is a reference to the Carnivores series. And this one we have the Rugged Female, which is Game Videos for Life own take on the creature. And it is just what it says on the tin, basically. There it is in all its glory. So it is basically just a rugged, toughened up version of the Allosaurus. You can see we've got a thicker skull up here. We've got the dewlap with the little spikes coming down it now, like this sort of elongated neck bones and neck muscle sort of dropping down from there. We've got a thicker body in general, sort of thicker body shape. These elongated spines down here at the tail I think look particularly cool, and of course more spines along the body as well. It's a little bit more Jurassic Worldified, but just generally speaking looks like a rugged, roughneck version of the Allosaurus. Comes with some fantastic skins and, you know, could be like an apex version of the dinosaur. You know, a little bit of genetic messing around, a little bit of genetic mayhem by InGen or Masrani or Biosyn or whatever, and they've sort of fused an Allosaurus with something else or created this apex supercharged version of the dinosaur. So it would suit a genetic sort of InGen themed park pretty well, I think. And just cool model, cool skins. Love a little nod to carnivores, who doesn't? What a beaut. Right, I've got one more decoration mod to show you before it's all new species all the time, and that is, it's this one. This is the Dinosaur Cage mod by Viral Cyclops for DRG Gaming. Viral has been very, very busy, clearly. So this is a couple of cage mods for your small, sort of medium, just medium at most dinosaurs like your Atrociraptor here, and also your tiny dinosaurs, or your tiny critters in this case, via the Lystrosaurus. So these look really cool. You know, we've got cages in the game, sort of. We don't need tiny cages, so this is really useful. If you wanted to do a black market sort of build, this is definitely the thing to do. And I believe that's why this mod was created in the first place, so DRG could do a black market sort of thing. You can see it's got lots of details. We've got like an opening here. You know, this would lift up above, so allow the Allosaurus to get in and out. Same on this side with a tiny little ladder for some reason. And then the bigger cage as well. Just looks more like a classic black market shipping sort of cage. And as you can see, it's working fine. Our Atrociraptor, this looks great. Our Atrociraptor isn't leaving. Now that does take a little finagling. This isn't an actual containment method. If you want to use these cages correctly, you will need Kai's Wii toolbox. I'm going to show you exactly how you want to do this to make it work. So my camera has gone a little bit bonkers. We've got a empty cage over here. Let's put another Atrociraptor in this cage over here. We're going to press L. We're going to go down to our carnivores. We're going to grab ourselves an Atrociraptor. Let's try to find a different cosmetic. Yep, there we go. I can't remember. Are you Panthera? Are you red? I think you're probably red because you're red. Let's pause you right there. So you've pressed L, you've gotten into your dinosaur spawn tool, you've got the dinosaur you want. You're then going to hit the J key. You're going to come down to the third tab, which is this one here, and this is your behavior tab, basically. And again, this is all part of Kai's Wii toolbox. And then you want to come down here and you want to click the second button in actions, and that is idle. If I then click on my Atrociraptor and then hit play, it'll be weird for a second, and then as you'll see, the Atrociraptor will just stand still. It'll basically loop itself in the idle behaviors from now on. It won't do anything else. And so as long as you've got food and water needs turned off, you can now put it in the cage without it ever escaping. So if we then go down here again and we hit the N key, which is our free move tool, and we just drag it over here, plonk it in like so, we now have a permanently caged, very cool looking Atrociraptor. Again, really good for like thematic builds. Put this with your Allosaurus, do like a InGen black market genetic mayhem sort of thing. Could be a really cool idea. Nice. I will never get tired of the animation where the others come bounding out behind. You always think, oh, it's just one of them. Did I only make one? No. The others are going to come bounding out eventually. This is, of course, a mammoth. It adds a mammoth to the game. This is by Peter Otter, Johnny V, and Chocolate. And buffs up our ailing Xenozoic parks at this late stage. It can look a little odd sometimes with the dinosaurs, but I would say largely kind of just fits into these environments and stuff like that. I don't think the game would suffer for having Xenozoics in them, but I suspect maybe there's a little bit of a nod there to Jurassic World Evolution 4, and Frontier might be thinking, well, we need something big for if a fourth game happens, right? Maybe we'll hold back the Xenozoics for that. I don't think I need to talk about mammoths too much because it's a mammoth, we all know that, but I am going to give you a fun fact that we probably haven't talked about in the past. The word mammoth, probably 99% sure, comes from the term manut or manont, which is a term from the Mansi language of indigenous Western Siberia. It's a still surprisingly active language to this day with over 2,000 speakers, which might not sound like a lot, but my own home island language of Manx, at some point in like the 90s and 2000s, had literally 0 speakers. So 2000, they're doing a very good job. Manx has been saved since then, thank God. But, you know, 2000 is doing all right. Anyway, in Mansi, Manont means earth horn, which is a very cool name. Anyway, that's where we get Mammoth, the Earth Horn. And this is it's a really cute mod. It's not a gigantic mammoth. It's one of the smaller mammoths we've got. I think it's been probably realistically scaled, all told. And I love the tall fur covering. We've got all along the body there, basically, other than the ears, of course. We've got this kind of patch of darker skin along the back and the little sort of head hat kind of thing that mammoths always have with that bulky bit on the top of the skull with a little bit more fur. And of course, we've got markings if you wanted a pattern on with this kind of striping and then almost tribal sort of markings going down along the face there. It's really cute. It's really cool. It comes in a huge variety of colors. You are a loner, aren't you? Just often. It's actually adorable. I don't know why it's so cute, but it is. Fantastic. One of my all-time favorite mods is back with a new lick of paint. This is Simosuchus by Gushy Gua. Now, you'll have seen this one before. We have covered this mod before, but this is a newly updated version, resculpted with better skins, individually sculpted, much better scales, as you can see along the back there. Lots of detail in the scutes, the osteoderms going along the back. Simosuchus is, for that reason, another animal we've talked about at length in the past between this and Prehistoric Planet. So I don't want to go too far into this one at all, really, but I do want to give a shout out to this mod. It's back again. Absolutely adorable. Simosuchus, I think, for a lot of us, one of our favourite creatures of all time for good reason. And I think we're about to see social animation. I like how long it lies there as well. It just briefly accepts that this is its life. And there they go, bounding off into the distance. Our little herbivorous crocodilia form. They look fantastic. And oh, yeah, they've scared away the mammoth somehow. I'm not sure. It's kind of like in, you know, Disney films where you see the elephant get really scared of the mouse. That's basically what just happened. Really cool Simosuchus mod, as it always is. Simosuchus, I should say. Off you go, buddy. Live your best life. Now, to close out the video, we've got a lot of wet things with 5 brand new aquatic species to check out. Let's dive in. Check that scripted laugh. First on our list then is Stethacanthus, made by Gushy Gua and commissioned by Peter Otter and looking fantastic. Stethacanthus is a really interesting animal. It is a shark-like fish from the late Devonian to the late Carboniferous, and that means it died out about 300 million years ago. We're talking a long old time ago, but we know quite a lot about it. Now, the interesting thing, the most prominently interesting thing about Stethacanthus, and there's quite a lot, you can see we've got the spines along the fin here, but really we're going to talk about this area here and this area over here, this weird bristly kind of texture that Stethacanthus has on its head and on this area here. Now, this bit here on the right, which would usually be a dorsal fin, it has instead what's called the spine brush complex. And it's weird. As you can see, it has this sort of slightly hairy, bristly sort of texture to it. And this is basically a series of cartilage tubes covered in a very thin layer of bone. And the same mechanism, the exact same mechanism, is found here on the skull as well, as you can see. Now, the prevailing theory is that this was basically the same as like essentially an erection, and these could inflate, and the idea would be that this would inflate and this would inflate, and it would kind of give the Stethacanthus this sort of this look of having a giant mouth, like it's got the gaping maw of a much larger fish, scaring away potential predators, because as you can see, Stethacanthus is not gigantic. Alternatively, as per usual, it's something to do with mating, because it's always something to do with mating. But either way, I love that they've rendered it here. It looks really, I mean, Stethacanthus in general, I think, has been rendered really nicely. It looks fantastic. Love that little bit of detail that we've got both, paleo accurate sort of features in there. We've got the spines coming down here. It's a very, very strange creature, but the texture work, the model work, the rigging work, it's kind of superb. I've got to say, this is some of, for me, Gushy Gua's very best work I've seen them do. This is a pretty top-notch creature. Beautifully weird, beautifully made. Stethacanthus. Bam. This looks so good as it dramatically swims off into the kelp over there. See you later, buddy. I should have expected that. So, whilst we're being weird, here's a new mod by Josiber. I still don't know. I think it's Josiber. Here's a new mod from Josiber. I'm just going to pick one and stick to it because we can't see a goddamn thing. There we go. Right, beautiful. So this is, I don't know how you pronounce this. Inik. It's A-I-N-I-K. Inik. Enictozoon by Josiber. A arthropod from the Silurian epoch of Scotland. Now, this was discovered all the way back in 1904 and first properly described in 1937. We have a lot of specimens for this thing, but it still proves to be, a bit of an enigma because well, look at it, basically. This entirely unique body shape, really not seen in any other animal we've ever discovered. This large carapace that juts out here at the front, and this is kind of symmetrical and sort of jutting out in this sort of curved shape, as you can see, but this comes in different shapes. Sometimes it's oblong, sometimes it's asymmetrical, it changes in different specimens. This weird unique shape is part of why Inik has been so hard to categorize, and the change to arthropod is relatively new. They actually suggested it would be an arthropod I can't even find the bloody thing, many moons ago, because it has a compound eye. As you can see in the middle there, this bit here has a compound eye, you know, like you find on flies and stuff like that. You know, an eye made up of lots of Stethacanthus. An eye made up of lots of Stethacanthus. You know, an eye made up of lots of eyes, essentially. Look at the little guy go. But there were other things sort of to make them dismiss it as an arthropod, and it's only recently they decided actually it probably was a quite early seaborne arthropod. And actually modelled really nicely. Looks a bit mad on the rig, but it's got a little wiggle on there on its tail, as you can see at the back there. The kind of thing I love to see added to this game, for sure. And modelled and textured beautifully as well. The pattern is actually fantastic, given the tiny size of the creature. How much detail and care has gone into this design is pretty wild. Fantastic, an ever popular choice. We have Titanoboa by DRG Gaming, Viral Cyclopes, and Rare EV6195. Coming into the game as an aquatic predator, as you can see, this is a lagoon creature this time around. Now, Titanoboa is a creature we talked about a lot before as well, because there's been various mods throughout the years and various different videos on various things. But well, and because it's that popular, because it's just gigantic. You know, 47 feet at the sort of higher end of the estimates, which is nearly 20 foot longer than our current extant biggest anacondas are, which get to around 30 feet or so. However, whilst Titanoboa still has the record for being the biggest snake, it's not necessarily the longest snake anymore. It's probably still the biggest, but not necessarily the longest. Because just last year, we're talking 2024, there was a new snake discovered. Where have you gone? Called it's really hard to do both at the same time. Called Simosuchus indicus, and this was discovered in India. Now, Simosuchus, where the heck have you gone? There you are. Well, there's one of you anyway. Simosuchus was discovered in India, as I say, and there are two main estimates for the length of Simosuchus indicus. If it's one method, then Simosuchus was about 40 feet long, but if the second method is used and proves to be accurate, then Simosuchus indicus was about 50 feet long, was even longer than Titanoboa. Now, typically when we talk about size in biology, we usually mean mass. And by that metric, Titanoboa would still be bigger, it's heavier, it's larger in that sort of way than Simosuchus would be. But it may have lost its title, and Simosuchus would be coming out over here somewhere as being just a few feet longer. The chances are, since they're both around 50 feet long, that's probably the maximum length you're realistically going to get to Titanoboa to, or a snake to, I should say, but still pretty cool that we're still discovering, even this decade, even this couple of years, gigantic new snakes we didn't know about. Anyways, Titanoboa, love the pattern along the back. Again, very anaconda sort of inspired there. Feels like, you know, a series of eyes along the back. This lovely orange coloration and drops down into the body. I don't know if this is taken from anything. The texture work to me suggests it's probably maybe the Jurassic World Alive Titanoboa, but I don't know that for sure. But makes a lot more sense as an aquatic predator. We don't really have a rig that would suit this on the land. And of course, if you wanted to, you could go a little bit crazy anyway. If you wanted to, you know, set up a shot for something in particular, you could come onto the land, use your toolbox, grab your Titanoboa, plonk it down on the land. There you go. You could, you know, move it around a little bit, and you know, you could still have it popping out of the water relatively. Wait. You can then rotate it down. We're going to make this work, folks. It's going to be beautiful. There you go. Look at that. Titanoboa emerging from the water to hunt. Not great once you hit play, but pretty good for screenshots and stuff like that. Our penultimate animal is something a little bit different, kind of gave it a crazy pattern seemingly. This is Steller's sea cow by Game Videos for Life and Viral Cyclops, and commissioned by Pizza Otter. Now Steller's sea cow is a extinct Sirenian, and that's all your sea cows. So that includes your Dugongidae, of which Steller's is a member, and your manatees as well. This lovely animal was wiped out a mere 27 years from the day it was first discovered by Europeans, hunted to extinction for fat, meat, hide, and, you know, knowing Europeans, probably fun. And it's a shame because this thing, well, it's a shame because it was hunted to extinction full stop, but this thing is gigantic. It really is, with reports suggesting it could grow as long as 30 feet long. For reference, the only other surviving member of Dugongidae is, well, it's the dugong, obviously. That grows up to about 13 feet long. So this extinct version of the dugong, essentially, was over 2 times longer, bigger in general, than what we have today. It was also buoyant and unable to, it couldn't swim around like this. It could not submerge entirely the way that modern dugongs can. And that probably is part of why it got hunted down so easily, because it can't just swim underwater for very long and escape. It's just covered in blubber and thick skin and air and fat and everything, and it just bounces along at the top of the water. So we found it and we slaughtered it, basically. Looks really cool here though. This is a really nicely made custom mod here by Viral Cyclops with Game Videos for Life helping out with the skins. The pattern is a little bit wild, but we can summon, like from the depths of hell, a unpatterned version. If we go over here, there we go. Look at it in that green color, actually pretty sweet looking. So if you wanted to, there you go. You could have something that looks much more akin to your modern dugongs. Really well modeled, really nicely modeled, rigged really well as well. The way the flippers are moving, they're not just going up and down, but you see there's a little undulation in there. They've got that sort of wavy effect. They showed the detail here on the mouth is the sort of where the whiskers would be, and the little details there, the bristles. Just really, really nicely detailed, really well rigged, really well textured, really well skinned. A beautiful, beautiful creature. Love seeing more mammals. You know, an animal that really celebrates what could have been if we were just a little bit smarter back in the day, or indeed right now, quite frankly. But majestic is not the word for this one. There's a reason I saved this one for last. It is gigantic. There you go. This is Maja, which has another name, Colossohydrus octena, and this is made by Viral Cyclops for Goji Center. And this is, I believe, a fictional, I mean, obviously, this is a fictional, gigantic, aquatic creature created. Now, I did try to find out the location. I apologize if I get this wrong, basically, because I'm not 100% sure. But I believe it was originally created by Borisau Blois, who is most well known probably for his work on animating and designing the bloop that you'll have seen. The bloop is very popular. I think we've featured the bloop on this channel. Now, Goji and Viral have designed this bio-accurate, inverted commas, version. Bio-accurate to what? I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced by that. If I had to guess what it's bio-accurate to, my first assumption would be the gaping dragon from Dark Souls. More than anything else, but yeah, I'm never convinced by the bioaccurate tag that these things sometimes get. It's absolutely wild. It's definitely not like anything we have in the world, but it looks pretty cool. Again, we've got this lovely movement on the side flippers there. We've got these gigantic antennae at the front and that weird gaping dragon-esque mouth funneling down. You see lovely detail in there. You know, the inside of the throat all the way down rendered. This thing doesn't have organs. It's just a mouth tube with teeth, which I'm sure is a fetish for at least somebody out there. But I've got to say, it looks pretty awesome. Again, it's been rigged and rendered really well. The model work is fantastic. The texture and pattern work is fantastic as well. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I don't tend to go in for these, generally speaking, but there's something to be said just for the sheer quality and craftsmanship on display here that I really, really do like. And I think Viral's done a fantastic job of bringing the original design and then Goji Center's sort of interpretation of that design to life. And those of you who follow the Goji Center channel, I'm sure you're picking up on lots of lovely little details here that you recognize from his videos on the subject. We even have like it's almost like a helicoprian sort of wall here at the front of the mouth. Those big eyes. You know, it's meant to be clearly a gigantic, I would suggest, very deep sea creature. I suspect it's blind, or at least somewhat blind, and kind of feels its way around using its antenna and sort of detecting motion and such in the water. What a big old weirdo you are. Right, anyway, that is the end of the video. So thank you very, very much for joining me. There have been a few other mods as well that I could have checked out, but the video was going to get abnormally long. But definitely go check out the Nexus from the last few weeks. There's a lot of very cool stuff. I really like this one. I don't know. I love Triceratops. It reminds me, this is like something pulled out of Dino D-Day or something. Yeah, loads of really cool mods out there. I've just picked out 12 of the ones I most wanted to showcase, the ones that are a little bit different, the ones that have something a little bit more unique to them, I suppose. But lots of fantastic models and stuff out there as well that you should definitely go check out. Throw them in your game, give the mod makers lots of love, and, you know, spend the last couple of months with Evolution 2 making it into the best game you possibly can. And you know what? A lot of these mods will help you do that. Throw me a like down below if you enjoyed the video. Check out the mod list in the description of this video, and I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Thanks for joining me. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye.
Road.